Hey, 7th grade. So here is video 1 of 10 for the week. This is letter 4 of the Screwtape Letters. Dear Wormwood, the amateurish suggestion in your last letter warned me that it is high time for me to write to you fully on the painful subject of prayer. You might have spared the comment that my advice about his prayers for his mother proved singularly unfortunate, meaning he should have left that out of his letter. That is not the sort of thing that a nephew should write to his uncle, nor a junior tempter to the undersecretary of a department. It also reveals an unpleasant desire to shift responsibility. You must learn to pay for your own blunders. The best thing there is, where it is possible, is to keep the patient from the serious intention of praying altogether. When the patient is an adult, recently reconverted to the enemy's party, like your man, this is best done by encouraging him to remember, or to think he remembers, the parrot-like nature of his prayers in childhood. In reaction against that, he may be persuaded to aim at something entirely spontaneous, inward, informal, and unregularized. And what this will actually mean to a beginner will be an effort to produce in himself a vaguely devotional mood, in which real concentration of will and intelligence have no part. One of their poets, Coleridge, has recorded that he did not pray with moving lips and bended knees, but merely composed his spirit to love and indulged a sense of self-supplication. That is exactly the sort of prayer we want, since it bears a superficial resemblance to the prayer of silence as practiced by those who are very far advanced in the enemy's service. Clever and lazy patients can be taken by it for quite a long time. At the very least, they can be persuaded that the bodily position makes no difference to their prayers, for they can constantly forget what you must always remember, that they are animals, and whatever their bodies do affects their souls. It's funny how mortals always picture us as putting things into their minds. In reality, our best work is done by keeping things out. So what he's saying is, let him think that he's being spiritual. Let him think that he is praying great prayers when really he's just kind of walking through the motions. Like, let him think that it's not important, that it's not reverent or significant. If this fails, you must fall back on a subtler misdirection of his intention. Whenever they are attending to the enemy himself, we are defeated. But there are ways of preventing them from doing so. The simplest is to turn their gaze away from him towards themselves. Keep them watching their own minds and trying to produce feelings, thereby the action of their own wills. When they meant to ask him for charity, let them instead start trying to manufacture charitable feelings for themselves, and not notice that this is what they are doing. When they meant to pray for courage, let them really be trying to feel brave. When they say they are praying for forgiveness, let them be trying to feel forgiven. Teach them to estimate the value of each prayer by their success in producing the desired feeling, and never let them suspect how much success or failure of the kind depends on whether they are well or ill, fresh or tired at the moment. So, keep them focused on how they feel, not on actually what's happening. Sorry. Leroy's joining in the conversation. But of course, the enemy will not meantime be idle. Whatever is prayer, whenever there is prayer, there is danger of his own immediate action. He is cynically indifferent to the dignity of his position and ours as pure spirits, and to human animals on their knees. He pours out self-knowledge in quite shameless fashion. Even if he defeats your first attempt at misdirection, we have a subtler weapon. The humans do not start from that direct perception of him, which we unhappily cannot avoid. I'm so sorry about my awkward dog. They have never known the ghastly luminosity, that stabbing and searing glare, which makes the background of permanent pain in their lives. If you look into your patient's mind when he is praying, you will find not that. If you examine the object to which he is attending, you will find that it is a composite object containing many quite ridiculous ingredients. There will be images derived from pictures of the enemy as he appeared during the discreditable episode known as the incarnation. There will be vaguer, perhaps quite savage and puerile images associated with the other two persons. There will even be some of his own reverence and bodily sensations accompanying it, objectified and attributed to the object revered. I have known cases where what the patient called his God was actually located up into the left at the corner of the bedroom ceiling, or inside his own head, or in a crucifix on the wall. But whatever the nature of the composite object, you must keep him praying to it, to the thing that he has made, not the person who has made him. So what Screwtape is saying is, like, humans can invent an image of God, and sometimes you can distract them to pray to that image. So, we've all seen pictures of Jesus on the cross, or we've seen images of what we think God looks like, or the Holy Spirit, or the three of them together, or anything like that. And so Screwtape is saying, get him to pray to that image, not to God, but to the image of God, the created thing, is the goal. You may even encourage him to attach great importance to the correction and improvement of his composite image, and to keep it steadily before his imagination during the whole prayer. For if he ever comes to make the distinction, if ever he consciously directs his prayers not to what I think thou art, but to what thou knowest thyself to be, our situation is for the moment desperate. Once all his thoughts and images have been flung aside, or, if retained with a full recognition of their merely subjective nature, and the man trusts himself to the completely real, external, invisible presence there with him in the room, and never knowable by him as he is known by it, why then it is that the incalculable may occur. In avoiding this situation, this real nakedness of the soul in prayer, you will be helped by the fact that the humans themselves do not desire it as much as they suppose. There's such a thing as getting more than they bargained for. So, we're trying to cause ineffective prayers in our patient. And I'll be back for letter number 5.